What's going on, guys? We're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasies Week 9 Booming and Busting Running Backs. My start of the week, I'm going to say, is Josh Jacobs against Detroit. I don't trust Detroit's running defense at all. I also don't trust their ability to cover running backs out of the backfield. And the Oakland Raiders know that when they need to, they can play big. Meaning, they'll pull in three tight ends and, just run the ball whenever they need to. That's what they did in Chicago. And I think that they really don't want to give the ball back to Matthew Stafford, so they could do a very similar game plan. I'm going to say start Derrick Henry against Carolina. Carolina has a top 5 defense so far in the NFL. I know that the last week's matchup against the San Francisco 49ers would tell you otherwise. But they're poised for Derrick Henry and the Titans. They're poised for, a big game on the ground because Carolina actually does have trouble covering up the middle when it comes to running backs, and that's really where Derrick Henry's made his money. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to say start Jordan Howard going up against Chicago. I think that he's going to be the featured player in this game, kind of the way he was in the Green Bay game. I'm going to say start Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson has put up about 70 yards a game over the last 2 weeks, and he's gone up against some pretty stout defenses. Even the San Francisco 49ers defense really couldn't slow him down. I'm going to say start Austin Eckler. Green Bay has trouble covering running backs that are catching passes out of the backfield, and so far this year, that's what Austin Eckler's been the best at. He is on pace for 1,000 receiving yards, which I can't remember the last time, a feature back has done that. For the busting running backs, I'm going to say be careful about Mark Ingram, going against New England. I know that New England's run defense can be had, but I think that, they could potentially get down enough to the point where Mark Ingram's not really going to be on the field a lot. So he could potentially see, like maybe 10 carries for, around 6 yards a clip at first, but then he might not, get really touched at all later on in the game. I'm going to say sit LaShawn McCoy going up against Minnesota. Minnesota's got a serious defense, and really as long as he doesn't get into the secondary, there's not really anything he's going to be able to do against this Minnesota defensive line. I know that with Matt Moore under center, they're going to be wanting to run the football more. They started to run the football last week against Green Bay, and then they started doing a lot of play action, but that really didn't help much that they stopped running the football. So look for Minnesota to really tee off against LaShawn McCoy, because whether I like their secondary or not, I think they trust their secondary against the players that Kansas City is going to bring. Going to say sit Chris Carson against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a top 5 rush defense, and that coupled with the fact that I think Tampa Bay can eventually score points, between Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Bruce Arians at the helm. I think that Seattle would have to abandon the running game relatively soon. I'm going to say sit James Conner. I don't know what happened. I heard a medical report that he could potentially be injured, but I didn't really look too much into that. So clearly if he's hurt, don't start him. But if he's healthy, I don't think that he's going to be able to do much against Indianapolis this week. Because especially over the last maybe 5 or 6 weeks, Indianapolis, they've been a top 7 or 8 defense, and especially in the last couple weeks with Darius Leonard coming back, I don't think that James Conner is going to find very much room to do anything at all. And then I'm going to say sit David Montgomery, the Chicago Bears running back against Philadelphia. Philadelphia has an atrocious secondary, but nobody trusts the Chicago quarterback. I can't even think of his name. He's so bad. Mitchell Trubisky. He's so bad. And Philadelphia knows that they really just need to stop the run, and they'll be able to win this game. So don't really touch him against a Philadelphia rushing defense that's been the only bright spot besides our quarterback so far on this team.